Today, we're talking about workplace retaliation. If you have a retaliation case, you need to know how to prove it. But today, I'm not going to give you a lecture about retaliation law because that's not what you need. Instead, what you do need, you need to understand and recognize the 3 pillars behind every good retaliation case. Because once you understand those 3 pillars, you'll be able to apply them to your situation and prove your case. So let's get into it. But first, remember, this isn't legal advice. It's just a YouTube video. But in this video, I'm going to explain how you can identify whether or not you have a good retaliation case. And if after watching this, you think you do have such a case, you should contact an employment lawyer to help you. If you want to contact us, you can click the link in the description below. Let's talk about the 3 pillars. The first pillar is a substantial period of satisfactory performance at work. This means that you've been working at the company for a while and nothing bad has happened. You've done a relatively good job. Now, the longer the better. We generally look for at least a period of 1 year. So that's pillar number 1. Pillar number 2 is something called protected activity. Protected activity is a legal term that means that you either were asked by your company to engage in some kind of illegal conduct and you refused, or you observed illegal conduct in the workplace and you reported it. Now, it could be any kind of illegal conduct. It could be observing and reporting unsafe work conditions, or employment discrimination, or sexual harassment, or maybe a violation of the wage and hour laws, or fraud, tax fraud, anything. So that's protected activity. And if you report it, it's better if it's in writing. That's pillar number 2. Pillar number 3 is adverse employment action taken by the company within 90 days of the protected activity. So that means that if you report the company for doing something illegal, or you refuse to do something illegal yourself, and then the company does something bad to you, like fire you or demote you, within 90 days of making that report, that is the 3rd pillar. Now let's demonstrate how these 3 pillars work in an actual case. Tamara Evans worked for a company up in Sacramento, California for many years. She did good work. But one day she noticed that her company was engaging in illegal activity. Her company was required to submit compliance reports to the government, and she thought that these reports contained fraudulent information. So she reported it to an outside agency. Not too long after that, Ms. Evans was accused of misconduct at work, and then she was fired. So those are the facts. Let's see if Ms. Evans has the 3 pillars needed for a great retaliation case. The first pillar, as you know, is a substantial period of satisfactory performance. Now, Ms. Evans worked for her company for many years, I think like 6 or 7 years. So she had that. And during that 6 or 7 year period, there were no instances of any kind of serious misconduct or discipline or performance allegations. So she had the first pillar, which is a good record of satisfactory performance. Pillar number 2, protected activity. Did Ms. Evans engage in protected activity? Well, yes, she did. She reported her company for fraud. She reported it to an outside agency, but she didn't have to do that. She could have just reported it internally as well. That's also protected activity. So now we know Ms. Evans satisfies the first and second pillar. Finally, the 3rd pillar. Did adverse employment action take place within 90 days of the protected activity? In this case, Ms. Evans reported the suspected fraud on September 1st, and she was fired on November 15th. That's 45 days after she engaged in protected activity. So Ms. Evans actually has all 3 pillars. She had a substantial period of good performance. She engaged in protected activity, and then the company fired her within 90 days of the protected activity. So if you have all 3 of those things, pretty much all the time you will have a strong retaliation case. Now, Ms. Evans, this is an actual case that went to trial in California, and she received an $8.8 million verdict. And the other thing to note that is that retaliation cases, in my opinion at least, are the easiest ones to prove. And they also produce some of the largest verdicts around. So that's why retaliation cases are really something to take seriously if you think it happened to you. Anyway, I hope this video was clear. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. And if you have a retaliation case, I hope you have the 3 pillars, and I hope you win. I'm Robert Ottinger. Thanks for watching.